kuram bisan wa jangama kuram bisan ya matrenelo yandem marong yandem jay kai wai yandem marong suma yandem marong kai wai kuram bisan wa jangama mernala big wajal sumanje kenai se yo ya maton yen kilime na fonye bang fan tv yen kilime na fonye bang fan tv yen kilime na fonye bang kasiti kadomo wallahi yen kilime na fonye bang kasiti kadomo de wallahi kasiti kadomo fan tv yen kilime na fonye bang yande marong yande jay kai wai yande marong suma yande jay kai wai
Good afternoon, and of course, welcome to another episode of our program. Let's talk about it. And of course, this is a special interview, and then with me here today is Honorable Maha M. So, the clerk of the University of the Gambia. The Students' Union Legislative Body, the fifth, legislative body. So, Maha, you are welcome to, Fine TV Gambia, and of course, to this special interview with you.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Mbai, for having me here. I am happy to be here.
Yes, thank you, Maha, for accepting our invitation to shed light, of course, to clarify on the saga right now. That is the mismanagement of the UTGSU Endowment Fund. So, esteemed viewers, I am Ibrahim Mbai, and of course, I would be the host of this program. And then my guest here today is Honorable Maha M. So, like I said earlier, he is the, clerk of the University of the Gambia Students' Union Legislative Body, the fifth legislative body. So, like I told you earlier on, we would delve into a discussion and centrally on your investigations. I've learned that you've investigated two important aspects as per, your tenure as the clerk, and of course, as per your tenure as the fifth legislative body of the University of the Gambia Student Union is concerned. So we will start with the, the investigation on the UTGSU Endowment Fund. So, but first, before we proceed, Maha, we would like you to tell us, the mandate of the UTGSU legislative body.
All right, thank you so much, Honorable Mbai. As I said earlier, I am happy to be here. And as the clerk of the fifth legislative body, it's incumbent upon me to come and then clarify certain things that were put in the media which were misinformation, and also to tell people what our report entails. But as you said, if you look at Section 30 of the UTGSU Constitution up to Section 44 of the UTGSU Constitution, all talks about the legislative body. So you get to realize that the legislative body has the power in Section 31, sub 1, has the power to conduct investigations. So, and when they conduct these investigations at the end of the day, in Section 44, sub 1, all the decisions, recommendations, and resolutions of the legislative body have to be implemented by the Executive Council and its affiliates. So basically, you would see, with regards to investigation, this is one of the mandates as per the legislative body, but it also have other functions. Some of the functions are the annual budgets of the Executive Council has to be approved by the legislative body. We also, any amount that is exceeding $75,000 that has to be withdrawn from the executive union's account. It should also be approved by the legislative body. So these are just some of the mandates that the legislative body has. It has so many other responsibilities as well. But as for our investigation, since it is with regards to financial mismanagement and all that, we will just connive it or narrow it down to that.
Yeah, interesting. So, that is the mandate of the University of Gambia Student Union legislative body. So, Ma, to the main issue now, to the discussion that brought us here today, take us through what really happened on the UTGSU Endowment Fund.
Yes, so with regards to the Endowment Fund, it's essential to get through the genesis of how this Endowment Fund came about. You will see that this Endowment Fund was given to the 19th Executive Council, and then during the 19th Executive Council by MSDG, and then when this money came, it was purposely for investments to be made And when these investments are made, the profits earned and all that will be put to the students of the University of the Gambia. So basically, this was what it was all about. So in 14 June 2021, 1.1 million was credited to the account. That account is a separate account of the UTGSU account, because UTGSU, they have their main account at Ajib Bank. So when these funds came, it was MSDG instructed the 19th Executive Council to set up an independent committee. This independent committee would be the ones that would be responsible for um, raising funds and as well as investment. But that committee is still under the 19th Executive Council, and they have to report back to the UTGSU and also UTG relations. So this is basically what the endowment account was all about. And as I said, on the 14th of June 2021, $1.1 million was deposited. Basically, this is it. But at the end of the day, we realized that based on, as per our investigation, there were no investments made throughout. There were no investments made, but there were so many withdrawals that were made. So many withdrawals, and then just to give you a glimpse of some of them, in 18 June 2021, there was a withdrawal of $23,600 by one of the signatories, and it's essential to tell you who the signatories were. We had two signatories at the time. They were Mohammed B. Baji, who was the Auditor General of the 19th Executive Council, and also we have Mohamed Lamin Jajusi, who was the Gender and Health Minister of the 19th Executive Council. And then this will also raise questions as to why these people were signatories to the account, as many raised. This is because during the 19th Executive Council, as I said, they had a bank account at Ajib Bank, and then the President, the Secretary General, and also the Finance Minister were the signatories to that account. And there was no legal backing to that independent committee that was set up. So through that, they also believed two individuals that can be signatories aside from the three signatories that were there, based on our report as per our findings. So this was the reason as to why they chose Modlamin Jajusi and also Mohamed Bibaji to be signatories to the account. So basically, this was it. So now, as I was giving you a glimpse of the withdrawals that were made, on the 18th of June 2021, $23,600 was withdrawn from the account, as well as on the 5th of July 2021, 70,000 was also withdrawn by Modlame Jajusi. You have on the 17th of November 2021, we have $10,000 was withdrawn by Mohamed Bibaji, and we have on the 19th of November 2021, 5,000 was withdrawn by Mohamed Bibaji, and a major withdrawal occurred on 27th of November 2023. And I believe this is, in fact, the main thing that we're talking about here, because it was the major withdrawal that happened, a significant amount, which was withdrawn on 27th of November 2023. And it was withdrawn based on the bank statement by Modlamin Jajusi. Yes, basically, this is the withdrawals that that took place. So that's as per our findings on the bank statement. But yes, it's also essential that I explain to everyone that we conducted investigations on these people. We wrote to Modlamin Jajusi, we wrote to Mohamed Bibaji. Mohamed Bibaji responded and then appeared. So when Mohamed Bibaji appeared to us, what he told us as a panel was that he wasn't aware of the time that the $1 million was withdrawn. He said for the simple fact that during the first graduate scheme, in which 28 students of the University of the Gambia were beneficiaries, he was also part of those people that were the beneficiaries. So he was posted at Janyambure. As the time he was going to Janyambure, he signed about 5 checklists in order for any investment that is to take place. As far as there are 2 signatories, the withdrawal can happen even in his absence. That is to be done by Molami Jajisi, who will just append his signature to that checklist, and then from there, withdrawals will be made. So we try to ascertain this fact, whether it is true or not. So we contacted Mr. Usman Jaz, who was the president of the 19th Executive Council, and he was able to ascertain that he was aware that, yes, 5 checklists were signed by Mohamed Bibaji. So then we were able to came to a conclusion that the $1 million that was withdrawn after their tenure. It's essential to mention that the 1 million was withdrawn in 2023, which was 2 years after their tenure. So we were able to ascertain that it was from those check leaves that it was withdrawn, and it was withdrawn by only Mohammed Jajusi. And how do we know that it was Molami Jajusi that withdrew this money? We wrote to Molami Jajusi a number of times, and I personally called him a number of times, and he never responded to any of our messages. And in fact, the letter entailed for him to write a personal statement, which Molamin Jajusi did, which Mohammed Baji did, and also Usman Jasi did. They all wrote their personal statements to us as per their involvement. But Molamin Jajusi never responded to any of those things, and he never wrote a personal statement. We called and he never responded until I had to call Mr. Usman Jasi to tell him that to please talk to Molamin Jajusi to pick my cause, because it is essential to give him free hearing. It's his right. But if he also did not, we are only going to take the testimonies of other individuals. And then Usman Jasi talked to him, and then the next day I called him. It was on the 17th. On the 17th of it was on the 17th of September. On the 17th of September, I called him. It was around 11 when I called him. He picked. So when he picked, I asked him. I told him that we are very aware that you are the one that withdrew the 1 million, as per the bank statement, on the 27th of November 2023. And then he told me yes, he withdrew the 27th. He withdrew the 1 million on the 27th of November 2023. So I asked him, are you in any ways connected? Is there any other person connected to this withdrawal? And he wasn't going straight to the point. He was dilly-dallying, I could say, because he was telling me, I alone cannot withdraw it and all that. And what I told him later was, what we just want to ascertain is you and who, because the bank statement clearly states it's you. So tell us, it's you and who that connect to withdraw this money. And his response was, he cannot tell, because there are other individuals that are currently working in the Gambia, and he is already away. So basically, he cannot tell me, because he don't want those ones to lose their job. So what I told him, their jobs. So what I told him is, really, we are not interested in those things. What we are interested in is the truth. You just tell us the truth, and from there, we can be able to publish our report. So he told me that, he takes the entire blame, that he is the one who withdrew the 1 million, which is also important for everybody to know that that is in fact what is in the bank statement. He said he's the one who withdrew, and he takes full charge of the withdrawal, and he promised me with the council members that he will pay in due time. That due time, we were not there to ascertain what due time is going to be. Our mandate was to write the report, and then that report will be submitted to the 22nd Executive Council, and the 22nd Executive Council has to abide by each of the resolutions and recommendations as per Section 44, Sub 1 of the UTGSU Constitution, which I think they are aware, because what the Constitution says is very clear. It says that the legislative body has the right to bring in decisions, resolutions, and recommendations. And each of those resolutions and recommendations have to be implemented by the Executive Council and its affiliates. So, and then just to caution the 22nd Executive Council as well, in Section 44, Sub 3, it says that it should be sufficient ground to impeach the president or any council member who did not enforce the decisions or the recommendations or the resolutions of the legislative body. I believe basically this was the rundown of how the withdrawals were made, and those that are responsible for the withdrawals, it was basically the signatories of the account that were responsible for the withdrawals. But as I said, the major withdrawal was made by Molamin Jajusi, and he took full blame as per our report. So any other information that is trending in social media that 500,000 was given to Molamin Jajusi and 500,000 to Mohammed Bibaji, that was not what our report entailed. And our report was so detailed because we gave each of them the freedom to express themselves, and each of them was able to tell us their involvement. And Molamin Jajusi, not for even once did he told us that he shared 500,000 to Mohammed Bibaji. So basically, this is the rundown of how things were.
Thank you, Ma. So, coming down, we learned that, this endowment fund was established by 19 Executive Council. So, 19 Executive Council to today, we have two succeeding council that, already, ended their tenure. That is the 28th and of course the 21st Executive Council. So I mean, what went wrong? I mean, as per your investigation, why I mean the 20th and 22nd and 25th Executive Council could not, I mean, claim the signatory to the bank
Yes,
account.
I would say this for free. I would say that the 20th Executive Council, before coming to the 21st Executive Council, they were the ones that failed the students of the University of the Gambia. Because in May 2022, the signatory, the Modlamin Jajusi and Mohamed Bibaji already appended their signature on the transfer of the bank account, which uh, the, the, the Secretary General by then, Bow, and we also have the Vice President Barry, and also the Finance Minister Koka, Mohamed Koka. All of them also appended their signature at the time, and all that was taken to the bank. But the problem was the 20th Executive Council. Some will tell you, in fact, my communication with Mr. Koka and also Vice President Barry, each of them would tell me that they believe is the order that was having expired documents or incomplete documents. So it was because of expired or incomplete documents that was either that was either for Mohamed Koka or for Vice President Barry. But for Mbow, it was clear that Mbow was having all his documents, but these two people were not having their documents right, and that was the reason as to why they did not forge ahead. But I believe they could have even done that when they have all their documents right, but they never did so. So that means that the 20th Executive Council failed the students woefully at the time because they were the first people that were supposed to transfer the signatories from Mohamed Bibaji and Mulami Jajusi. And then it is essential for people to know that those people also did what they were supposed to do, that is Mulami Jajusi and Mohamed Bibaji, at the with the 20th Executive Council, because they came and they were ready to sign and then give back all the documents. But the 20th Executive Council did not take it any further. Now, to the 21st Executive Council, they have also tried better than that of the 20th Executive Council. At least they brought in a bill. They call it the Endowment Bill. This Endowment Bill was to help them set up a proper committee, and this committee will have the legal backing of the LB because there's no constitutional backing for this endowment account. So when they brought in this, the LB was busy at the time, and then at some point we organized a session where we had to invite the Justice Minister, who is Farmata Kamara at the time. So when we invited her, we told her that there are certain things in the bill which we don't think is appropriate to be there. Because at some point we are seeing that the members of the current council, that was members of the 21st Executive Council, some of them should be signatories for 2 years, which we believe that is inconsistent because these people will no more be students of the University of the Gambia. So if they are done with their tenure, they should not serve as signatories. And they should not even be part of that committee. So this was something and other things that we raised to the Justice Minister and tell her that to go back and then make those changes. If they make those changes, the LB, have nothing against that bill, and they will surely move that bill. But that never came to effect. They never came back. That's why we also never pushed that. So the other thing is, on the 25th of November 2023, they wrote to both Mohamed Bibaji and Molamin Jajusi and copied all the other committee members. And then their letter entailed for these people to make sure that they transfer signatories. But a response they got from Mohamed Bibaji was they were almost at the end of their tenure because it was November, 25th November 2023. And then they think it's best that they give it back to the 22nd Executive Council, which at some point, whatever basis they have for that, we don't know. But this was the response that they gave to the 21st Executive Council. So at the end of the day, there was nothing much that we as an LD received from the 21st Executive Council until when the 22nd Executive Council came. When they came in, they tried to get the bank statement of the endowment account through their finance minister, who is Ibicham. And then from there, they were able to write to us to do the investigation of the endowment account. And this is so applaudable, I would say, from the 22nd Executive Council, because the 20th, I would say they cannot bring in investigation because they failed in their responsibility of of changing signatory. 21st could have done that, but maybe it was not in their minds at the time. They were more focused on other things, and they tried with regard to the endowment bill, but it was never passed. And then they were also not ready at the time to continue with the recommendations that were given by the LB. So I would say the main reason as to why this endowment investigation took place, it was because of the 22nd Executive Council, after two successive councils that came that couldn't give a better recommendation as to what should be done at the time. So basically, I would say it was the 20th and the 21st Executive Council that failed in their responsibilities, most especially the 20th Executive Council at the time. Yes, basically.
So, I mean, on social media, messages, I mean, are circulated. In fact, Mohammed, I mean, Molamin Jayusi, there is a message claiming that it's from him, that, I mean, he's apologizing, I mean, what UTG student, that he withdrew 500, I mean, $1,000, and of course, with his colleague, Mohammed Baji. So he's saying that he is not entirely responsible, according to that statement.
Yeah.
And Watson Gambi also, I mean, what they wrote is that, I mean, Molam Jai, he is not responsible entirely for that 1 million. He's saying that his colleague is also responsible to pay 500,000, and of course, I mean, he's also pay 500,000. So as per your investigations, I mean, is that really concrete?
Yeah, I'll give that chance to the media. You know, the media at some point, we are in the 21st century, and then at some point, the media would circulate wrong information. I believe they usually get it from the wrong people, and then they circulate the wrong information. The right people are not mostly asked, and that's why we always speculate wrong information, or maybe to gain attention or whatsoever. But basically, as I said, as per our report, and then this report, as I said, if the 22nd Executive Council, which I believe, since they already wrote to us, if they really respect the legislative body, they will surely abide by all the recommendations that the legislative body has put forward. And the recommendation is for Modlamin Jajusi to pay back the $1 million, because as we spoke to Modlamin Jajusi, he clearly indicated that he is the one who took it. So if all Modlamin Jajusi had to tell us that 500,000 was given to Baji, then probably our investigation could have expanded more with regards to that. But Baji, came, and then we had an investigation with him, and he told us all that he knew. But he told us that he is really not aware of the 1 million until when he was called at UTG Relations with regards to the endowment account. That was the time that he was able to be aware, which was just a few days before our investigation. So basically, we cannot say that this one, how to call it, Baji, will pay 500,000 or so. As per our report, it is Molamin Jajusi who told us that he is the one who took it and took full responsibility, is the one that is to pay it, which I believe that the 22nd Executive Council are going to abide by.
Interesting. So, like, regarding this issue, as part of the, I mean, the fifth LB of UTGSU, what do you think, is really, I mean, the pushing factor, I mean, for this?
Yeah, so, this as well, I will come back to this. One of the reasons as to why this withdrawal, which should not be even justifiable. This withdrawals, you can call it theft, because, it is break of trust to the University of the Gambia students. But we have councils that have to succeed other councils. The major reason as why this withdrawal happened, because the major withdrawal happened on 2023, not 2021. So it is because of the councils that came before, that came after the 19th Executive Council. And the major council that in fact caused this is the 28th Executive Council, which was supposed to fast track the signatory as far as these people have already signed.
Then this wouldn't have happened.
This would not have even happened. In fact, we would not have even blamed the 25th Executive Council in the first place if the 20th Executive Council have done the needful. So basically, we would blame the 20th Executive Council for not doing what was necessary. But the other thing is, this is students' money. Even if you are a signatory for 1,000 years, you know that no matter what, the students will always need this, and maybe there will be a council that will be so proactive to be able to advance and then change the signatory. If honesty is there and transparency, I believe that nobody or Modlami Jajusi wouldn't have withdrew the $1 million that we are talking about today. So I believe that the transparency, which is subjective, or honesty, which is also subjective, but I believe that if it was really inculcated at some point, or it's inculcated in all our leaders at the end of the day, such things will not happen. So I will narrow it down to the councils that succeeded the 19th Executive Council, and also the honesty of the individuals that were the signatory to the account. So basically, I believe this is the major reason as to why these withdrawals were made.
If I did hear you right, is that Molamin Jajusi has part your investigation, is entirely responsible for the payment of, the money that was withdrawn from the bank that amounts to $1 million.
Yes, as per our investigation, is Molamin Jajusi. A lot of people will also ask these questions, because people know that one person cannot withdraw
when there are two
signatories.
signatories.
When there are two signatories. As I alluded earlier, based on the testimony of Mohammed Bibaji, when he came, he said he wasn't aware of the time that the 1 million was withdrawn. But he believed that it should be from the checklist that he signed when he was going to Janjambure, because he wasn't aware, and then Molami Jaji cannot withdraw without his awareness if at all there's none of his signature somewhere. So basically, this is why we say that it is Molami Jaisi. And not only that, Molami Jaisi was called on the 17th of September, and Molami Jaisi told us that he is the one who took full charge of the 1 million that was withdrawn. And he himself, in the bank statement, it is only him that is there. So obviously, that is clear. And as per our report, he is the only one that is supposed to pay that money, because that's what he told us. Any other thing that is going on with social media or whatsoever, and the claim apology, which we are not even sure whether he is the one who wrote that, is untrue. The 500,000 or whatsoever, we cannot ascertain the fact whether they share it. But what he said is he took full responsibility of the 1 million, and that is what basically our report entailed, that he is the one supposed to pay that.
Let's talk about it. Dear viewers, just to remind you once again, this is Fine TV Gambia, and of course, your weekly program, Jude. Let's talk about it. And of course, today we are discussing on, the mismanagement of the UTGSU Endowment Fund. And with me here is, to shed light on this topic, is Honorable Mahem So, the, clerk of the UTGSU LB. That's the fifth, LB. So Ma, I think that one is clear. The UTGSU Endowment Fund is clear, and then according to the UTGSU LB, investigative report, it indicates that Honorable or Mr. Molamin Dajusi is responsible to repay the 1 million that was withdrawn November 2023, as he confirmed that to the LB while on investigation. So Ma, we also realize that your LB does not only investigated the UTGSU Endowment Fund. It also went far to investigate the 12th Executive Council Financial Mismanagement of the University of Gambia Debate Association. Take us through this investigation.
Yes, with regards to the debate association, what happened was, during their Congress, the audited financial report was not adopted. That was the 12th Executive Council's final Congress. It was not adopted. So when the 13th Executive Council came to play, they initiated a formal request for us to investigate, because they believe that the audited financial report wasn't adopted, and they don't think they can just take it up from there. And they believe, based on their letter, they indicated that there has been discrepancies after when they go through the financial audited report, and also the auditor's report, which in fact set an alarm, which says that the auditor said that he has audited the financial report, but he found it untrue. And this basically brought in a lot of discrepancies, and then these people have to write. The certain executive council has to write to the legislative body. It's essential to mention this. Legislative body have not taken up any investigation on their own. The 22nd Executive Council wrote to us. We investigated the endowment. Certain Executive Council also wrote to us, because we are the only body within the university that can do, or that is mandated to do the investigation. So when they wrote to us, we have to do the investigation. So during this investigation, we found out so many financial mismanagements that occurred during their time, because one of the major reasons is lack of documentation
in all their financial transactions.
In most of their financial transactions, because there was a $45,000 which was withdrawn. This $45,000 that was withdrawn was the time that they were supposed to go for a nationwide tour. The DA is popularly known for the nationwide tour they always go for before VCMC.
Yeah.
So when they were going in, by that time they said that the DA do not have a lot of funds, and then the first amount that was budgeted for was around $51,000, and then later it was reduced to $40,000. So, but to our notice, the finance minister said he was aware, but he advised them not to withdraw the $40,000 at the time. So, but when they went to the bank account, it was the president and the secretary general, because you have three signatories: president, secretary, and finance minister. They withdrew $45,000. But they said the reason why they withdrew the $45,000 is because they owed a man who was paid in their flyers, and so they owed him about $5,000. So they withdrew $45,000. So the $5,000 was given to the man, and the $40,000 was what they went with to the tour. We didn't even have any problems with the money that they went with, but there was no proper documentation. There was no impact documentation, because the finance minister indicated clearly that he received no documents that indicates how the expenditures were made. And basically, if there are no documentations, therefore the Auditor General can say that the financial auditor report is untrue because he did not know how it happened because there was no receipt given to him. So basically, that was one of them, and the other one was as they wrote this thing receivable of $40,000. This was with regards to um, they should have subvention. Every sub association should have subvention to the UTGSU. So they wrote to the UTGSU, but the UTGSU indicated that the documents that were supposed to be given were incomplete, and then they have to get that the documents were incomplete. But later there were no other follow-ups that were made to get this, but it was included in the financial report that they should receive that, which is clear that they cannot receive it. We contacted the 21st Executive Council, and they indicated that that cannot be received because the necessary documents were not given. So that also raised eyebrows, and then the auditor have to say it's untrue. But the biggest problem was the $26,000. During there was a program funded by NHRC, a 2-day program funded by NHRC, which was they gave them $100,000. They gave him $50,000 rather. That's a slip of tongue. $50,000 to pay for this thing, transport refunds of 100 individuals. So these 100 individuals that came, they were supposed to be given $500 each. They were supposed to be given $500 each. So these $500 they were supposed to be given. The president and the secretary general thought it wise to fraudulently give each student $300, and then the other $200 will be kept in the DA's account for further investments because they believe that at that time DA was suffering from financial issues. So, but what happened was after when each student was given $300, the $200 was later given to each $200 was later given to the president. So, and it's essential to mention that we got proofs that 80 students were the ones that attended the activity.
80 instead of 100.
80 students were the ones that attended the activity, because if it is 100 students that attended the activity, it will not be $26,000. It will be somewhere about around $20,000. So it's going to be 200 times 100. So based on our investigation, it was 80 students that attended the this thing, how to call it, the event, and each of them was given $300. And then, as per our report, based on the finance minister, he indicated that the secretary general, as per the messages we have, the secretary general feel the rest of the of after the 80, he feel the rest like individuals just to feel it, and then those amounts altogether, if you amount it, those two $500 with the $200 from each of the 80 individuals, if you amount all that, is going to give you $26,000. So we were able to establish that it was $26,000 that was given to the president, even though we got testimonies that it was somewhere around 20,000. That is, if it's to be 100 individuals. So this $26,000 was given to the president, and then the president said on how we're going home, because we talked to her on how we're going home, she believed that that's where the money got lost. Because when she reached home, she had to check and realize that the money is not there with some of her things. So she found out that it was lost. So she believed that it was lost, and then she had to call the secretary general to inform the secretary general that the money is lost. So as per the secretary general's this personal statement to us, what he said was he later informed the council members that about $20,000 is lost. So, and collectively, as he indicated, the council members, agreed that it was meant to happen. It could have happened to anyone, and they just, because what he said was they collectively let it go. Understand? So that part was what was triggering us to in fact do proper investigation on $26,000. So we had to invite each of the council members to ask them with regards to that $26,000. So each of them, when they come, from the vice president, from the president to the last one, that's each minister, when they come, they will tell you that they believe it was a natural phenomenon and it could have happened to anyone, and they never, for once, told the president to pay, which belongs to the general students of the University of the Gambia, because by just securing your admission letter at the University of the Gambia, you are a member of the debate association. So basically, when this 26,000 was lost, we were so, when 26,000 was lost, and then we did this investigation, and we realized that all the executive members said that they believe it was a natural phenomenon, and then they just had to let it go. The LB believed that that's not right because it was students' money and it was fraudulently acquired. As far as it was fraudulently acquired, and it should be deposited in the bank account, and it was not deposited in the bank account, there are resolutions that we passed that this $26,000 has to be put there. Other expenditures that there were no documentation. We are aware that the, the, the programs happen and the expenditures were made in those things. That we have nothing much to say. So basically, with regards to $26,000, there is it, and then we indicated that the president is going to pay 50% of that $26,000 because it was from her that the money got lost. The Secretary General will also pay 10% of that money because he was one of the people that crafted the idea as to how this money is to be fraudulently acquired. And the finance minister, which I want to focus on, the finance minister, which we in fact brought in our recommendation, the finance minister was using a mobile application withdrawal. So this is the first time I've heard that like there's an association using that, which I'm not sure whether the association was aware of that. So first he withdrew certain amounts. One of the amounts was 3,615, which I just want to ascertain right now. The amounts are all here as per our report. So the finance minister no withdraw. He transferred $3,615 from the UTGDA account using a mobile application to an individual account. So this he tried to explain to us, but we couldn't understand, because we couldn't just get it because the point is it's wrong in fact to use a mobile application because at some point one person should not be a signatory. One person should not be a signatory. Two people did not sign. So if you use a mobile application, you are the only one that is transferring. So obviously that is wrong entirely. And then we said that he is going to pay that money as well because it's wrong. So not only that, he also withdrew $5,000 from DA's account for his own personal issues as well. This also we say he's going to pay. So it's essential that he brought in certain evidences that he usually fund DA's activities, you know, when he is present and then they need certain things. But those things were not backed with proper proof. There's nothing that we can say, yeah, it is true. Even though he clearly states that this money that he was transferring to personal accounts was based on his own investment in DA's activities, even though the president at some point justified that sometimes he does that. But there were no proofs as to that. So we couldn't just ascertain the fact. This is why we brought in a recommendation that no UTG sub-association or even the SU to use a mobile application for their financial dealings because one person will be signing. We will be withdrawing money anyhow. So basically, this was some of the things that we were able to ascertain with regards to that report. Yeah, that was the 40,000 receivables, the $26,000, and the 40,000 that was spent on the tour, which I indicated that 45,000 was withdrawn. But the reason why we are saying the mismanagement was there was no documentation that was made, and the finance minister said also he wasn't aware or he did not accept the withdrawals that were taking place with regards to that $45,000.
So I mean, what was the recommendation that the LB gave as far as these individuals repaying this money?
Yes. So basically, what we said was very clear. We said that these individuals are to pay, as I just told you, that is, the president is to pay 50%, which is amounting to $13,000, and also the secretary and finance minister are to pay each 10%, which is amounting to $2,600, and each of those ministers at the time, including the honorary member and the legal advisor, they were all in that page where it was shared. Each of them also is going to pay 5% of the money, amounting to $1,300. So we also made in exceptions. There were exceptions.
Okay.
The deputy welfare minister was also interviewed, but at the time that the money was lost, she was deputy welfare. You know, she subsequently became the welfare minister. But at the time that the money was lost, she wasn't the welfare minister, she was deputy, and that's why she was exempted. And the auditor was also exempted. The reason as to why he was exempted is he is the main reason as to why this investigation took place. And then he also revealed this at Congress. So obviously, this is why he is also exempted. So as part of our recommendations, we recommend that no association UTG uses a bank mobile application app, and we also recommend that financial transactions to be documented regardless of how petty they are.
Yeah.
So the moment they are documented, you can be able to, even if
Please.
you want to buy a jumbo or whatsoever, if the
Documented.
finance minister can be able to have, I don't know how they call it in their financial terms, they used to have that, like check sort of, where you when you go, you just have to write and then the person sign. That's very simple. Maybe the person will not have the receipt, but do that. Each finance minister can try to do that in your sub association. And then we also recommend that no withdrawals be made by any signatory without the consent of the finance minister. So, and all elected executive members within the University of the Gambia must strictly adhere to the rule of law and avoid negotiation of the laws. Because the moment they negotiate with these laws, we
It's
always have a
unlawful.
problem.
Certainly.
And also, we also recommend the 22nd Executive Council shall honor the Auditor General of the 12th Executive Council of the Debate Association for his honesty, transparency, accountability to the general students' body. And also, what we finally recommend is if any of these students fail to to pay this amount of money, whether you are a current, if you are a current student, the UTG management will be involved. If you are also an ex-student, the UTG management will be involved. And if it persists and you still, there's nothing that can be done, state authority will also be involved, which I believe that these amounts can be paid by the students as far as they are all liable. So they also have to try by all means and pay, because at the end of the day, it is money of the students of the University of the Gambia.
Quite
Basically.
clear, Maha. Maha, we're running out of time. So ultimately, Maha, I mean, what would be your advice to student leaders or to aspiring student leaders?
Yeah, so to students leaders and especially and aspiring students leaders, me that is sitting here, I cannot say that I am honest or whatsoever, because nobody, can should judge people at the end of the day. But we should all try. It's not easy, but student leadership is one of the most difficult things that we should all try by all means to adhere to the rule of law. The constitution is clear. So if a president is handling money, that means the president basically is not adhering to the constitutional to the constitution. The finance minister is one responsible solely for financial issues. You understand the point? If this happens, basically, the president will not be implicated, the secretary general, and all this. And if at all it was only the finance minister that was doing this, example today, you will be able to just it is only the finance minister that will be implicated, and then the finance minister is to pay all this. So students leaders, I believe that honesty and transparency in our dealings is very essential. When it comes to money, record, no matter how petty the thing is. So basically, I believe when we inculcate this transparency and honesty within us, which I personally is telling you, I can say I am. But the point is, we all have to try by all means and then put this into us, inculcate this into us. At the end of the day, we are going to have a university to thrive in, and then have and then be decorated as one of the best student leaders of our time. Thank you.
The 22nd, 22nd Executive Council regarding this recommendation that you've made. What is your take or what is your advice?
Yes, with regards to the 22nd Executive Council, as I alluded earlier, I know President Nyaninka and Secretary General Fodi and all of them, they're people that, as he always say, I always hear him saying that the Constitution is the Alpha and the Omega. So I believe that he will apply that, because the point is the Constitution is clear. And then I don't want any of the executive members to be impeached. And currently, students of the University of the Gambia are very aware. Section 44, sub 1 and sub 3, as I said, are very clear. All Section 44, sub 1 indicates that all decisions, recommendations, and resolutions of the legislative body have to be implemented. There's no negotiation in that. You have to implement it. And Section 44, sub 3 says that it should be sufficient ground for students to impeach the president or any executive member if they fail to enforce these responsibilities. So basically, it is clear, and I believe that the 22nd Executive Council will not negotiate in any ways by abiding by their responsibilities and then trying to do all what is necessary to get back these monies, so that the students of the University of the Gambia that are suffering from tuition fee issues and suffering from other things can be helped with the 40% that they are also supporting with this supporting the students. If this money comes, obviously it will help the underprivileged students. At the end of the day, as I said, this university is going to be a ground where we will all want to thrive in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. And of course, dear viewers, that is the end of the interview today. And of course, with our program, I mean, let's talk about it. And I believe you have talked about it.
Sure.
Ma, I mean, I was so, fluent. Debaters, whenever they talk,
You're my boss.
you have to listen.
You're my
So,
boss.
Ma, we are grateful to have hosted you today here. And of course, we thank you for accepting our invitation. And of course, for coming out boldly to clarify issues that are just, trending on media, what people are saying differently. But I believe from today, you are aware that, I mean, whatsoever is going on, Maha has made it clear. So,
one
yes.
thing I want to add, I forgot about this, which I should have started. I worked with a pragmatic team, a great team for that matter, that is the fifth legislative body. As we all know, that we have already been dissolved. We're just waiting for the other legislative body to be instituted. From the Speaker, Yama Embai, Deputy Speaker Yusuf Tunkara, and Deputy Clerk, Mr. Aliu Sane, all of them, and all the LB members from different schools have been working with us hand in glove to make sure that these reports are put into the right way. So these are the people that I was supposed to start with. I am just the administrative head and being the crafter of the report, but it is all their ideas that we put forward, which were the best ideas. So I thank them so much, and I am happy working with all of them until we meet some other time. So I thank them so much for their efforts.
Thank you, Ma. So we would end here, and I was your host, Ibrahim Bay, and Honorable Maha M. So, the class of the fifth legislative body of the University of the Gambia Student Union was my guest today. So I believe the endowment fund, the mismanagement of the endowment fund is clear, and of course the 12th Executive Council financial mismanagement is also been cleared by Ma. So thank you, and then bye bye.